Welcome to coverage of the Rotax Max Challenge Africa Open from the Swartkorps International Raceway. And in terms of karting, you can't ask for a better circuit and more ideal conditions to play in. 24 degrees Celsius as we start the Senior Max coverage. And qualifying on pole, a big surprise, Waylon Wyman beating out Dominic Lincoln ahead of a super effort there from Naidu and Jason Kutsia. And then just behind them, Nicholas Verheul having to push hard just ahead of Liam Crystal and Daniel Duminy.
Guys, qualifying done. Africa Open. A different ball game to a national. How do you approach a day like today?
Okay, well, basically, like, qualifying is not that important. The first race and second race mainly determines where you have to start for the final, and that's where you have to focus. And also by saving your tire life for the last race, so you can have the edge on everyone. And yeah, that's what I think it is.
Nick, this new tyre has brought a new dimension.
Yeah, I think the tyres have given everybody a bigger sweet spot to play with. It's brought all of the competitors closer together. It's extremely difficult to try and find just 1/10 more than the guy in front of you now. Before you could just take it a little bit easy and find the time. Now it's a lot more difficult to find that 10th.
Is it all about having the best tyres on the last few laps of the final, or is there more to it?
Tyres is an important part of it. Looking after your tyres through the day, you've got to manage them, make them last. But at the end of the day, everybody goes flat out every lap, so tyre management happens naturally. We're racers, we're not Formula 1 drivers, we just want to race. And I do think that fitness is an important thing. I find myself being a bit older than the guys, I have to be fit to keep up, otherwise there's no chance.
Guys, qualifying done, first and third on the grid. But qualifying for this day today is not as important as normally with a national.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, it's actually very true, but because today we only have 2 pre-finals and set it up for the final, because normally on the national day we have qualifying which normally dictates our day. If you have a bad qualifying, you're normally going to have a bad day. But today, luckily, if you have a bad qualifying, you can make it up in the 2 pre-finals and set yourself up for a good final.
I want to call you the find of the season, because you were nowhere last season as far as I'm concerned, and this year suddenly you're knocking on victories. What changed?
Well, I joined the team. It's RKT, very good team. They helped me a huge amount. As soon as I joined them, I started leading the nationals. Now I'm in front in the nationals, which is it makes me really excited, and I'm ready for this this next national that's coming up.
Now, how do you handle today? Because it's a one-off. He who crosses the line first at the end of the day is the winner. There's no point, nothing to worry about.
I'm just going to put my head down, give it my all, obviously. Hopefully the people behind me fast. If I'm in front, I'm going to try to get to the front and let them sort their stuff out and pull a gap as quick as I can.
Joining me in commentary now for Senior Max pre-final number 1, Carl Lawrence, and side by side here, a big surprise, but not to the RKT team. They've been working hard to get Waylon Wyman up to pace. I think he's going to have his work cut out to try and keep out this big field though, and it's going to be extremely competitive here in Senior Max, Carl.
He's really upset the usual contenders like Shireen Naidu and Dominic Lincoln to be up there in the front. Jason Kutsia getting a good start, closing up the inside line and keeping Shireen Naidu behind him, but a bit of a mistake there from Kamani driving over the top of Nicholas Verheul, and now Nicholas has lost the front gap. Gap to the front.
Look in the background how he really had to take evasive action as he came back on track. So a little bit of work to be done there. A couple of drivers to make mention of course, in this pack. You're going to have to keep an eye on. You just mentioned Nicholas Verheul. He's been to the World Finals already. So has Jonathan Peterson. The two of them fighting in the Masters Championships over a couple of seasons and a couple of championships ago. But right now looking for Senior Max. Now remember, with a Senior Max drive, the driver that gets the seat gets a DD2 seat. So they're fighting hard here for potentially to go and join the DD2 team for South Africa at Brazil in November.
Another driver to watch there is Andrew Backstraw, who's actually coached by a previous world champion, which is Claudio Piazzamuso. He's shown a real turn of pace all weekend, and you can see him there in the background just chasing down Shireen Naidu as Dominic Lincoln gets past Waylon Wyman for the lead.
Taking the lead in the barrel now, leading things out as they come up into the 180s, and in the 180s you can see the gap is also closed down there. Jason Kutsia has decided just to up the wick ever so slightly, bringing along Naidu, bringing along Raxtor, the man you just mentioned, and Verheul not too far off the back, but a bit of work to do there for Verheul. I think Nick Verheul is going to battle here. He's going to have to try and concentrate on getting in some really good lap times and good points, because it's going to determine where he finishes up and where he starts, of course, for the grand final.
That's something you've got to keep in the back of your mind all the way through this race, is that you've got to see good lap times to keep yourself up the grid so that you can maintain the point score to start high up in the final.
Now, it's important to start that final as high up as possible because we've already seen in a couple of the other categories that we've covered over this weekend how vital it is. If you're not at the front end, you're going to battle to get through these very competitive drivers. And we're talking about the cream of the crop here. These guys really have come to the forefront in Senior Max this entire season and put on a great show every single time they go racing. Here into the 180s again, you can see just the top 4, just in a class of their own at the moment. But I say that sort of tongue-in-cheek because if Verheul and Peterson were there, and even Daniel Dermody, we'd be having a sort of a 5 or 8-way battle for the lead of this race.
The one thing that's really thrown this class wide open is the new D5 Mojo tire we've been given. It really brought the whole class closer together. It maintained the chassis seemed to prefer it a lot better, so it brought everything a lot closer together.
Listen, it's a vital part of any form of motorsport, the rubber that gets down on the road and gets you the ability to get the power down. So they certainly are working hard here and working with the Mojo guys to ensure that that is exactly the case. Now as they come back into the 180s, it looks like Dominic Lincoln is basically controlling this race. I don't think there's any answer there because every time you see either Waylon Wyman or Jason Coetzee close that gap, all of a sudden Lincoln just puts in another stonker and moves that little bit further ahead than what he was before.
The one thing the Tony Kart and RKT boys have right is that they know how to gear their karts for the long haul, for the end of the event, for the end of the race. And Wyman's been very quick towards the end of every session this entire weekend.
Yeah, it's good to see that. Let's see if we can put it all together and hopefully make it stick at the end. Right now, Dominic Lincoln still maintains the lead as they go under the tunnel and into the 180s. It's definitely a lot closer from Waylon Wyman. Jason Coetzee seems to have dropped about a kart length off there, but he'll close that up the hill. Right behind them, you can see Naidu, then Raxtor, Verheul, Peterson's there, Daniel Dermody, and all the way from the UAE, Liam Crystal. So good to see all the way from the United Arab Emirates coming to join us here as part of the Africa Open and looking to get a little bit of extra, probably seat time and experience in amongst a big pack of karters like this.
Lap 9 and 12 now. Jason has a look there on Waylon. Doesn't quite get it done. Waylon drove all the way around the outside of him. Make him feel a bit silly, I'm sure.
The Cosmic Chassis has been proven in the past, and Coetzee loves being in that chassis, so he'll definitely look to close things down now as we've got about 2.5 laps to go as they come to complete this one. So really, really awesome stuff. But look at that, Dominic Lincoln now. He's just turned the wick up. He's on his way out of here. I think he's looking to really go and get ready for pre-final number 2.
No, he's definitely put together a good race, kept it for the long haul, kept the head down and kept the laps consistent.
Across the line, another lap down. So here we go into the latter part. As you can see there, going down to 2 laps to go. Waylon Wyman tucked in there and right on his tail, Jason Coetzee. Look at how there's a bit of a change up there. Raxtor is under a bit of pressure. Verheul is coming. And Verheul is meaning business here. Look at how he's starting to close things down. On his tail, we've got Jonathan Peterson. Right behind them, Daniel Dermody. And a bit of a fight there between the two boys. Lovely to see. Even though it's the latter part of the race, they're still going at it flat out. So on to the final lap we go, and across the line, look how tight it is. Coetzee diving on the inside of Wyman. Wyman going to try and keep him honest. The two of them side by side. He had a good line through turn 1. He was able to maintain the line and just hangs on for second place. So Coetzee will probably think to himself, hang on a second, I don't have to fight for a victory here. I've got a good lap time in. I'm in a good position. I'm going to score good points here. Let's just try and consolidate and take into account I've got one more pre-final and, of course, the big one at the end of the day.
Definitely something you should be taking into consideration. But the one driver I'm really impressed with is little Shiren Naidu, showing proper pace throughout the year.
Yeah, great recovery here as they come into the final stages across the line. It's a good win there from Dominic Lincoln. Confidence building there for the Brill man. Let's see if we can keep it all together now and possibly go at it for pre-final 2 and, of course, more importantly, for the grand final. But it is Lincoln who takes the win ahead of Wyman. Coetzee in 3rd place, Naidu and Raxtor. Then you've got a super effort and a good recovery there for 6th place in Nick Verheul. Jonathan Peterson just behind him. It's Daniel Dermody and Liam Crystal that comes through, just beating out Colo Ulifir, and a super effort there from them.
Yeah, front row is what you want, but doesn't really matter that much. It's all about the final. But we'll just give it our best to the whole thing and see how it goes.
How do you strategize where the 2 pre-finals are now actually a qualifying session and another qualifying session?
Of course, you don't want to take any major risks. You just want to play it safe and do the best you can without damaging your karts or falling back behind the grid. And yeah.
Straight into pre-final 2, the man who took the victories on the outside. On his inside, Jason Coetzee, he'll definitely be looking for a victory here in pre-final 2 to get his confidence up in that Cosmic Chassis. On their tail, the surprise of the weekend there, Waylon Wyman, but look who is alongside him. we have got two of the ex-Masters contenders going at it here as well in Senior Max as they drop the hammer and head down towards turn 1. It is a fantastic start from Kutsia. He dives on the inside as he got the whole shot. Waylon Wyman goes with him, and side by side coming out of that first turn, you can see some big action already as Fahel looked for an opportunity but couldn't quite find it.
It looked like Andrew Backstraw and Conor Donovan getting into it there out of turn 1. Andrew Backstraw, unfortunately, the loser of that battle, falling down the field, but he'll be strong and come through again, I'm sure.
Yeah, looking very good so far. Good start to this heat. Everybody on track and no one kind of off a couple of wheels going onto the dirt, but that's kind of expected as they head up into the big double left-hander to bring them to complete lap number 1. Look at how they come through there, steaming. Absolutely brilliant stuff. These karts going at it full time and flat out as they head toward turn 1 again. Hard on the brakes, couple of guys closing things down. All of a sudden you've got first and second place a little bit closer than what I'm sure the man out front wants it to be right now. Jason Kutsia having to fend off the attack coming from the Burrell Artman as they come up through the 180s. And now right on their tail, it's Wyman, and there you go. Just about to say for Hale, and he dives to third.
That's his favourite move there into the double right in the 180s there. Nick does it all the time. He's done it on me a few times. It's quite frustrating, actually. You can't get back at him. But he's lost a bit of a gap on these two, Dominic Lincoln and Jason Kutsia. They've been going at it hammer and tongs all season in the national series, but here comes Dominic Lincoln now looking at the inside of Jason. Just couldn't get it done so early. Be clever, just leave it alone now he's got a gap on Nicholas Vale, because Nicholas Vale looks strong charging from third there.
Yeah, I'm loving the fact that these guys are not holding anything back here. They really are going at it. Flat out stuff, and there's 7 of them, all within the shot of getting that seat. Remember, and that's what they're fighting for here this weekend, but right now they're ensuring that they get a high enough position and a good lap time in, so they can get things sorted out for the grid for the grand final.
Oh, a bit of a push there on Shiren Naidu from Liam Crystal. Shiren maybe should have backed out of the outside there, but got a little bit more grass than he expected.
It's going to affect him for a little while, but he should be able to come back. Shouldn't be too much of an issue there. Ooh.
Double move there. Waylon Wyman on Nicholas
Make that a triple move nearly.
Even a little hand to say, sorry Nick, I didn't mean to do it that bad, but it's also Dominic Lincoln getting past Jason Kutsia.
Yeah, nice move, and Fahel losing out there as well as Waylon Wyman just came through there and said, right, I got this. I'm going to follow through what I'm seeing at the front end. And the double move nearly moved into a triple move there. Fortunately, Fahel, I think, saw what was coming and shut the door.
But Waylon Wyman there showing a real turn of pace. He's pulled in 2 car links just on that half of the lap on Jason Kutsia, and he's going to be in the fight for the lead in this pre-final 2.
Fantastic action. Naidu recovering nicely there, down in about 8th place as they cross the line. Back onto the brakes into turn 1. Kutsia and Wyman, definitely a battle to watch out for there. But if they're not careful, Fahel is definitely going to pounce. And he might catch the both of them sleeping as they did to him a bit earlier on in that previous lap.
Fahel, one of the very few drivers in this class that can actually have a beer afterwards, but showing a real turn of pace there in 4th.
As they come up into... Oh, a change up. There you go. 11 of 15, and Wyman's got through. So Wyman getting ahead of Jason Kutsia. Kutsia now just sticking right on his bumper. Oh, look at that.
He's
late braking. Perfectly done. Oh, that's textbook stuff there coming out of Jason Kutsia. In fact, they go side by side into turn 2. Can he hold on to turn 2? No, he can't.
Wyman round the outside. Switched back through turn 1 and gave him an outside pass into turn 2. Brilliant move there from Waylon Wyman. He's got work cut out for him to catch on to Dominic. There's only 4 laps remaining, and it's a big gap.
Yeah, this is why, because they're just fighting with each other. You know, they don't have to worry too much about the victory. That's not important right now. Next heat is what counts. So this little fight is going to just be confidence boosting. Hopefully going to be able to see where there could be some chinks in the armor. And I think that's what Fahel's looking for. Fahel is sitting there going, yeah, I can possibly do something about these two if they continue fighting the way they are. So he's probably going to sit back and wait, although he's not really sitting back right now. He's right in it. But if he sees something go wrong, or if there's an opportunity that opens up like that, wow, how's that for late braking? Fahel, I think, might have just been caught out there. And that's definitely cost him. Yep. He's lost the toe to the back end of those two.
Absolute brilliant catch not to go over the back of Jason there, though. It could have ended in tears. As Jason down the inside again into the double right on Waylon Wyman. This is now a race to see who finishes second in this final.
Yeah, they're just having fun. They are just having fun out there, the two of them. Giving each other a good run for their money. And in fact, if they keep continuing at it, there's a possibility that Fahel might be able to close up on them again.
He's back in it again, one more time.
It's great, eh? They come across the line, another lap completed. Only a couple to go here as they come down to the braking markers for turn number 1. Coming out of 1, you can't even see the leader. It's an incredible drive out of Dominic Lincoln. He's definitely going to be a man to watch out for in the final. And I think there's going to be a lot of concern on the sideline for the kind of pace he's picked up in this second pre-final.
In my mind, he's definitely a favourite to win the final.
So here we go with that kind of lead. Carl, you can't be wrong, buddy. Look at the way he's just got to the front, controlled it for a little bit, maintained the pressure for a little bit as well, and then just opened up the gap.
Wow, what a dive.
He was helped out with this little fight. There's no doubt about it. But I don't think they're going to be fighting as hard as what they are now if it gets to the grand final time. So hats off to the Brill man. He's going to come through for the victory. And a good victory it is over Jason Katsia, who I think is going to hang on there for second place. Waylon Wyman will have to settle for third. Only just, though, because on his tail, Nick Verheul gave him a run to the line. An incredible drive there from Verheul. He beat out Liam Crystal from the UAE. Then it was Sharon Naidu ahead of Carlo Ulifir. Good drive from him. And Daniel Dermody in 8th place ahead of Andrew Rackstraw. And Rio Baka Kamani, the man who crashed in the pre-final number 1, comes through for a top 10 in pre-final 2. Right, this is the one that counts. They've had some fun and games in pre-final 1 and 2. As you can see, it is all about Lincoln at the front end. He has determined the pole after going at it for a couple of rounds and, of course, taking the second round. Now we go into this grand final, and this is for the seat to Brazil. They're in the tram lines. It looks like it's a good start. Yes, it's a great start. Coming across the line there. A little early move coming down into third place. Wow! That was a great move. A couple of guys around the outside onto the dirt. Hands up from a couple of drivers. I think that was Katsia. Yeah, Jason Katsia got forced wide and he's now right at the back of the pack. That is not where Jason Katsia wanted to be. That is for sure, Carl. He's got some work to do.
You can see they know that it's the final. That the moves and the way they were running into that turn 1, swapping positions, changing left to right, you could definitely see they know it's a final. Unfortunately, Jason Katsia got the short end of the stick there, ended up on the outside, and so did Nicholas Verheul going into turn 1 on the brakes.
Yeah, looks like there's some work to be done now. It's all about the pack at the front, and then of course the second pack that's just started to form up there, about 4 or 5 kart lengths from the top 3. If they come down under braking markers, you can see really tight stuff. Sharon Naidu with a great start again. Absolutely brilliant stuff from that youngster, and really showing the kind of prowess he's shown throughout the season. Getting better and better every time he gets behind the wheel of this kart. How far back is Katsia? Has he been able to make up any maneuvers? Doesn't look like he's made up any positions just yet in that last lap, so he's got a massive amount of work to do and a huge mountain to climb here.
He looks far outside the top 10, and with the way that Dominant Lincoln and Waylon Wyman have been turning pace throughout the first 2 heats, it's going to be difficult to chase that gap down.
Oh, look at the front end though. Look at Lincoln. Lincoln just going to try to control. He has got lots of work to do to control though, because remember this is a 20-lap heat. So slightly longer race, which means you've got to take into account tyre pressures, you've got to take into account how your chassis is going to perform at the end of the race, more importantly than what it does here at the start. If they come under braking, good move here. Under braking and going through. Oh, little touch. Oh, that's massive. Germany coming together there, and that is costly of note between those two. They are both out of this heat.
That's Andrew Baxter and Daniel Dumley, unfortunately hooking themselves up on their nose cone and their bumper there, forcing them into that little tire wall on the left-hand side, and that's it, heat over.
Oh, not where you want to be, that's for sure. When you're watching these guys go at it, you can see the frustration there as the driver hangs over the wall and realizes that is the end of his chances of securing a possibility of that seat to the finals in Brazil. Lincoln has still got a shot, so has Wyman. It's a great run here from Wyman. Really, really super stuff.
Liam Crystal up there in third though. He's really moved himself up in the most important race of the day. 2 Burls up there in the top 3. And Liam Crystal from the UAE looking strong for a win in this final. But Dominant Lincoln again able to pull those 2 car lengths or 3 or a car length a lap, just enough to eke away from Wyman. He's definitely going to be the favourite for this final.
It's great to have Connor Donovan's friend here from the UAE. Really super stuff. But he's throwing in a little bit of a spanner in the works here. I don't think Waylon Wyman and Dominic Lincoln are going to be too happy about the man from the UAE applying pressure onto their possibilities of that seat to the final. As they come through turn 1 again, there's big pressure from Crystal. Crystal's a little bit closer now to Wyman and doesn't quite make it stick just yet. Doesn't have a go, but he's definitely within range.
Liam Crystal always very good onto the brakes into this right-hander by the pit entry. But obviously not this lap, losing 2 or 3 car lengths on Wyman as he just pulls back a car length on Dominic Lincoln in front of him.
Oh, nice to see these 3 going at it. And this is literally where the seat is going to be decided. I don't think there's anybody else that can match them. Carlo Ulifir is just off the back end here, fighting with Verheul. So a super effort from the 2 of them. But they're not going to be playing a role here in this top 3 fight.
Mature, clever driving is going to win this one though. There, you see, there's Wyman down the inside, late on the brakes. He brings Liam Crystal with him. Dominic, though, wise to it, goes around the outside of him.
Nice move there from Wyman. Hopefully it's going to be able to hang on. No, it's not.
And now it starts.
Here we go. Okay, so we're about halfway through this race. Oh, can you believe that? Around the outside through the tunnel, and Wyman makes it stick. And that was needed to be done, because otherwise he probably would have lost out and not been able to maintain the ground that he made up in that first overtaking maneuver he pulled into turn 2. So he was able to make it stick through the tunnel and now start to pull, what's that, a kart length, at least, over Lincoln. If he keeps doing that, it's exactly what he needs to do.
Lincoln's pulled it back and ready through the double left, wise to it. He would be clever to have a move down the inside here, but not going to do it. Just stay on the bumper of Wyman. He knows he's got the pace. He's won the previous 2 races, and he knows he can put his head down and get away if he needs to.
That's what he needs to right now, and what he needs to right now is get to the front. Not an easy thing to do, not when you've got the pressure coming from behind. Oh, look at that frustration. No, I know how that feels, and so do you. Sitting on the sideline, watching the opportunities just fall away. Anyway, it can happen to everybody, and it's probably not the first or last time it's going to happen here at this international kart racing circuit at Zwartkops.
Andrew Backstraw was really quick throughout the weekend, and he could have done really well and been up front here with these three, maybe giving them a bit more pressure than they needed. But here comes Dominic Licker down the inside already on Wyman. Makes it stick. Good move from him. Wyman doesn't have the option on the cutback, but he'll be looking into turn 2 already as they go down here. Down the hill, down the inside, late on the brakes. Dominic tries to close the door, and Wyman not having any of it. That allows Liam Crystal through to second.
Yeah, Crystal just diving and taking the opportunity. So Crystal now up in second place. Lincoln losing ground. Lincoln seems to have a little bit of problem there. He's lost a lot of ground. Look at how he's falling back there. There might be an issue there on that kart. He's looking down. There's definitely an issue on that kart.
Definitely looking for something in the fuel tank, so possibly a misfire there on the bottom, and every time he gets in the power, it doesn't seem to be pulling the way it did in the first few laps of this race.
So as they cross the line, you can see Shren Naidu starting to pull the gap now on the ailing Burrell kart there. There's definitely something wrong.
Once again, it's not getting out of turn 1 like it used to there. You can see him having a look over to see where Shren is. Shren getting really, really close now to Dominic Lincoln. Shren been quick all weekend, so he can actually get onto these front two and make it a race. A three-way race again for the lead.
As they come through the 180s now, Waylon Wyman deciding it's time to get away. He's not worried about who's behind him. He's put his head down, and he's going to try and open a big enough margin that he doesn't have to worry about it over the last couple of laps. Liam Crystal doesn't seem to have the answer just yet to him, although he is sitting there comfortable in second place. The battle is for third, and Shren Naidu looking to capitalise on the ailing Burrell art kart in front of him. And whether or not that's going to be the case, because it looks like, oh, there you go. Okay, I was about to eat my words. I was going to say it looked like Dominic Lincoln might be driving around the problem, but if it is an issue on the electrical or mechanical side of that kart, there's nothing that Lincoln's going to be able to do.
Verheul and Kutsia now getting really close to the back of Dominic Lincoln as they head into the tunnel there.
Can you believe the recovery coming out of Jason Kutsia? We're on just over the halfway stage. This is the grand final, and we are with Senior Max. And the Senior Max battles are starting to heat up. Kutsia on the back end of Verheul. They're closing down on Lincoln, who's now in fourth place. It's Shren Naidu in the third spot, all on his own. Good move there from Kutsia. Gets ahead of Verheul as they come through turn 1.
And there again, Lincoln not getting out of turn 1. It doesn't seem to be going. It looks like an electrical fault. He's fiddling with a battery switch there on the left-hand side. He still gives Nick Verheul a bit of a shove through the right end there with one hand on the steering wheel.
So you join us back here at 15 of 20. Unfortunately, Dominic Lincoln is out of there. He's had to retire on lap number 14, which leaves these two fighting for second. I don't know if they're going to have the pace to catch Waylon Wyman. He's in a class of his own. He realizes how important this race victory is, and he's not going to let this one slide. The battle is for second, but unfortunately, second place today does not count.
Shren Naidu there down the inside. I was going to say, he definitely does have the pace on Liam Crystal. He's caught quite a massive gap over the last 4 laps, and he may actually have the pace to get onto the back of Wyman.
Look at Kutsia coming along for the ride as well. He's not too far off the back end of that little battle, so it looks like Jason Kutsia could be moving up nicely too. Carlo Ulifia just behind them, looking to see where Verheul is. He's not too far off the back either. Just see him through the 180s there.
Oh, big dive.
Take that.
Big dive.
That's how we do it in the UAE.
And that's allowed Jason Kutsia to get past him over the right-left chicane over the bridge. That is a scary place to make a pass, and hats off to Jason. I didn't think he'd be able to get this close to the front after being so far back after lap 1.
Dude, he was at the end. He was at the back of the field. Unbelievable drive here from him. Absolutely brilliant. Can you imagine if he'd been able to stay at the front end? I think we'd have a completely different picture to this race.
Liam Crystal now, you can see by his demeanor, he's fighting for second. He knows he can't get back onto the back of Wyman. Wyman just driven away from him in the last few laps, so his dice is going to be with Jason. Jason needs to clear him quickly and get his head down to get onto the back of Waylon.
Great experience for the man from the UAE here. And of course, they've got a very, very competitive championship up in the UAE as well. A couple of our drivers have been back and forth on those championships too. But this man has got it all right. He's just keeping it all together at the front end. He's opened up about a 4-second lead now over the top 3 that are fighting there for second, third, and fourth place.
Oh,
and
big
look at the battle. There you go.
But he's run wide and just allowed Jason up there, but he's on the wrong side into turn 2. A little bit of argy-bargy and touchy. Here comes Shren as well. I see 3 or 4 lane changes there by Liam Crystal. Clearly they don't have the one move rule in the UAE, but he's keeping Jason Kutsia behind him.
They do. Make as many moves as you can. That's the one move you're allowed to make. But he's able to do it. And listen, it's proving to be one of the best races we've seen all day.
Absolutely.
These guys are holding nothing back. Katsia back in it and looking for a chance now for a potential podium as he comes up under braking, going to dive on the inside. Remember, Jason Katsia was gifted this seat last year, so he knows how important it is, and he knows that he's got some work to do, but there's not enough laps, unfortunately, to catch the leader. So he's going to have to fight here for second place with Crystal, and right on his tail, Nadu.
Liam aware of how late Jason is on the brakes into turn 1 and just runs that a little bit later, so Jason knows that move isn't on now. He's going to have to look at a different corner to get past Liam Crystal.
Hale just behind them, Connor Donovan, then you got Peter
expect a dive down the inside here, nothing there. Liam wise to it and he blocks it off.
No, they're just keeping each other at bay here. Crystal just putting that kart as wide, probably making it as wide as a DD2. I have to say that because it's the biggest kart we've got out there, although they're all the same size chassis. Doesn't really help us, eh?
No.
Oh, maybe we should make it a polo.
Yeah, there we go.
Right, oh, look at that, there you go.
All the way down the
Defensive.
inside, Jason going wide, he's going to try the cutback now for turn 2. Does he make it stick? Does he run Liam to the edge? He does allow him a little bit more space, and this gives Shren Naidu an option on Jason. But he doesn't take that option.
I love the way they were looking at each other on the last lap. This time they didn't look. Now they were just concentrating on the braking point. Excellent stuff coming out of a Senior Max category, as always. But what an incredible drive, and what a turnaround for the season here. This is what they've been working for, eh?
We seem to be missing our 3.
Oh, yeah, they've gone missing. You're not wrong.
Shren Naidu now in second.
Yes, indeed. So it looks like we've lost out on Liam Crystal, and Jason Katsia has gone missing as well. As the flag comes out, Waylon Wyman is stoked. But on that last lap, ooh, big turnaround. Shren Naidu will come through there to take second place. Nick Verheul gifted third place with the demise of Liam Crystal and Jason Katsia. Must have been an issue coming out of the tunnel and heading down to the first of the 180s. Confirmation of the results though. Waylon Wyman gets the seat to Brazil ahead of Shren Naidu. Nick Verheul, Carlo Ulifir, Connor Donovan, Jonathan Peterson ahead of Faran Buerta. And a great effort there as well coming out of Jason Katsia. Jürgen Pommerschein in 9th and Liam Crystal eventually in 10th.
You were all happy and joyful with pole position. The win must be much better.
Yeah, with that win, my heart just shattered and I was so happy. The greatest thing that's ever happened to me was this victory. This team set me up and just let me go. Yeah.
I mean, I keep on saying it. I told you that this morning. You to me is the improvement, is the driver of the season because of improvement. What changed this year?
Well, I guess it's the team. Obviously, it's my first year with the team. I went from last year like 6th in the nationals to this year leading it. And what made me the happiest was my dad that came back from Israel just to come watch me race. And as soon as he touched the kart and the team told us what to do, we just had it hooked up and we just had it going.
So now, ticket to Brazil.
Yeah.
You better sort out your Portuguese, at least to order food.
Yeah, I'm speechless. I'm ready, That's all I can say. I'm ready for it.